Oh, what's good, everybody? It's your boy, the Anime Ambu here, coming at you with part 14.5. I've been doing a lot of half videos because these chapters are very long. But, you know, what if Naruto is like Minato, otherwise known as Return of the Flash on Wattpad. And boy, am I excited today, man. I woke up this morning very excited and happy because we hit 100 subscribers last night. Or, well, this morning, technically. But, yeah. Shout out to, I think it was like XXZ something. I can't remember what it was. But somebody commented that we hit 100 last night. And man, did that make my whole evening. I made a whole ass video on it. That's crazy. So, yeah, you know, huge thank you. I cannot believe that we hit 100 subscribers. I mean, shoot. 200's from here, right? Yeah, 200 from here. Let's hit 200 next. I can't believe we hit 100. Wow, so super excited. Like, comment, and subscribe. Also, I've never told y'all to put post notifications on, but if y'all feel like it, put notifications on. You don't get notified when I drop a video. I'm gonna be trying to drop this as much as I can because I kind of want to get a little. I want to get a little further through it. I want to at least hit Shippuden by, I don't know, hopefully next week. That would be nice. Crazy. I don't know if you guys can hear this music in my background. I don't know. I got my Alexa rolling right now. Shoot, I want to make this intro. I don't want to make this intro too long. But yeah, you know, huge thank you, huge shout out for hitting 100 subs. I cannot believe that. That actually made my whole day. That made my whole day. I can't believe it. Cannot believe it. But yeah, so I'm gonna take my swig of my water, and then I'm gonna hop right into this video for y'all. You know. Woo! And the end of the song, too. Alright, let's go. Naruto had already formulated a plan on what to do when he spotted a clearing. The shadow clones from earlier had all dispelled themselves so that the chakra could come back to Naruto. He landed in the clearing and turned around. The snake was huge, easily reaching up to 70 feet in length. As soon as he stopped, the snake lunged with his mouth wide open. He immediately jumped back, easily avoiding the mouth, forming a shadow clone behind the snake. He instantly switched places, so now the clone was in the field of vision of the snake, giving Naruto full access to its unguarded back. As the clone jumped around the clearing, Naruto hit on a branch and waited for the perfect moment to strike. As soon as he saw the snake getting into position, so it was facing the exact opposite direction of the real Naruto. If you don't know, they substituted. So now the Naruto that was running away is a shadow clone, and the Naruto behind him is the real Naruto. Yeah, I just didn't know if you knew that. In the exact opposite direction of the real Naruto. Naruto acted. He had practiced this until he could do it with just one hand seal, and he was so grateful for it. Clapping his hands together, he did it. Sweet Sun, sweet Danha, water style, water severing wave. The stream of water that was expelled from his mouth was razor sharp, so sharp that it cut through the thick boulder. It could cut through a thick boulder like a hot knife through butter. Jeez. It had cleanly split the head of the snake from its body. The clone whistled as he walked across to the real Naruto. The now dead snake laid across the full clearing. They both gazed at it for a moment, after which the clone said, "That was downright savage of you. Thanks." He dispelled the clone and tried to piece his thoughts together. He knew that snakes this big were not there in the forest, so this was a summon. But there was only 2 snake summoners. Anko-sensei is not allowed to interfere as the proctor of the exam. So that leaves. His face paled rapidly as he came to a horrifying conclusion about just who his teammate was facing. He spread out his senses and cursed when he sensed absolute fear from Sasuke and Sakura's numbness. He disappeared in the fastest shunpo he had performed until today. Naruto narrowed his eyes at the immensely potent killing intent that was permeating from the air. He landed on a high branch and studied the scene below. The Kusa bitch was staring at Sasuke with a look of amusement, as if she knew she could end him in an instant, but was allowing it to play out for her amusement. Naruto's jaw muscles clenched because she was absolutely right. Hell, she could kill himself at any instant. Sasuke stood no chance against her at all. Who the hell is this intruder? He silently released all his resistance seals. "Come now, Sasuke, you know you can't win. What will you do?" She chuckled. Sasuke shivered at the tone, but spoke. "It's a scroll you want, right? Take it and leave us." He threw the fake scroll to the Kusanin, who probably thought it was just a regular heaven scroll. He barely refrained from cursing when she threw it behind her, and the scroll went off in an explosion like the one that killed the team from Ave. You don't think I didn't know about the little trick your team pulled off? She mused in a dark tone. Damn. Sasuke forced out through gritted teeth. He was gritting them ever since he felt that unnatural killing intent from the kunoichi, to stop from chattering in a show of fear. He was uncontrollably shaking when he felt her killing intent and barely stabbed himself in time to avoid being pierced in the head by her kunai. The kunoichi moved, scaring Sasuke, who hurled shuriken at her. Stay away from me! She dodged it with ease and was almost upon him when a fist came out of nowhere, smashing into her cheek with such force that she was flown backwards. The woman, however, simply spun midair and landed gracefully. She absently rubbed her cheek as she stared, impressed with his ability to catch her off guard and the power behind the strike. She looked into the impassive face of one Uzumaki Naruto, amused by the resolve in his eyes. Sasuke, for once in his life, was infinitely glad to see his comrade. Sakura almost sunk in relief at his appearance. My, you escaped my friend, Naruto-kun. Naruto's face gave nothing away as he answered, Your friend is dead. The kunoichi looked even more impressed as she looked at him, noting the lack of any scratches and damage on him. Very impressive, Naruto-kun. Not many can dispatch my friend without sustaining damage, she complimented. Naruto glared at her, and she was faintly reminded of another blonde who glared identically. Why don't you drop that disguise? You're not fooling me. The woman regarded him for a moment, then laughed hard. You're amusing. What makes you think I'm wearing a disguise? Naruto simply stared impassively. That giant snake of yours was a dead giveaway. Only 2 people are known to possess the snake summoning contract. I already know the first, which only leaves one option. Orochimaru of the Sannin. The way you lunged at Sasuke is the snake style of taijutsu, which is another giveaway of your identity. There was no outward reaction from the woman, but inwardly she was more impressed. What an analysis! To be able to observe and deduce things so quickly, with just one look. That's easily Jonin level thinking. The power behind his strike was easily Jonin level as well, and it was well timed and placed. He must be incredibly talented and skilled. Shame that he's a Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, otherwise that body could be mine. He silently complained. Alexa, volume down too. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear that music. It was getting pretty loud. Yeah. Sasuke was barely keeping from shaking. Orochimaru of the Sannin? That S-rank missing nin from Konoha and foreigner Suman of the Sandaime? We stand no chance against him. Very cleverly deduced, Naruto-kun. The woman said, Anything else you can tell me? Naruto was on an even higher alert, ready to move at the slightest sign of movement from the Sannin. Well, it's quite clear that you're after Sasuke, and by no extension his Sharingan. You sent a summoning to dispose of me and didn't even pay attention to Sakura, instead choosing to pick on Sasuke, am I wrong? Orochimaru chuckled, which turned into a full-blown laugh. He stopped laughing and... shed. You know what he did. The skin of the kunoichi was pulled off to reveal an extremely pale man with long black hair and golden slitted eyes. Surrounded in purple markings, almost like the eye marking, he wore a tan shirt with long-sleeved black undershirt and a large purple rope around his waist tied in a large knot. What time is it? Okay. Sakura and Sasuke stared in horror at the most infamous missing nin of Konoha. Meanwhile, Naruto didn't waver his gaze. You are most interesting, Naruto-kun. Unfortunately, it is not you who I came for, he said, looking at Sasuke and licking his mouth with an unnaturally long tongue. Even Naruto was unable to avoid the shudder of the show of creepiness. He eventually said, Sorry, but I can't allow you to have your way with him. I need him intact if we want to pass this phase. With that being said, he made his first move. With lightning speed, he slapped his hands on the ground. A large ceiling array erupted from his hand on the ground. The clearing was bathed in so much light that Orochimaru grunted and was forced to shield his eyes, lest he become blind. When the light died down, the 3 genin had vanished. Orochimaru simply chuckled before following them. He's certainly fast. Naruto was flash-stepping like crazy. His teammates held in fireman's carry. Sasuke shouted, Put me down, Uzumaki! Naruto didn't miss a beat. Only if you're as fast as me or faster. Sasuke shut his mouth and just held on, knowing Naruto was way faster than him. Sakura simply held on for dear life. This was the first time she was moving this fast and had seen Naruto move this fast. Naruto was going full throttle, knowing Orochimaru would eventually catch up to them. He was hoping to find some help. He sidestepped just in time to avoid being blown away. Orochimaru had caught up to them and was looking highly amused. Face going impassive, he sat Sakura down and Sasuke. Sasuke, hang back. It's you he wants. Sasuke scowled but heeded the boy's words and moved back to guard Sakura. Naruto had leapt forward to meet Orochimaru fist to fist. They engaged in a furious bout of taijutsu, both of them becoming blurs. Orochimaru's eyes narrowed. This fighting style seemed somewhat familiar, and the boy was doing it far too well. Punches and kicks were being blocked quite easily, but finger jabs were coming too close to vital areas. He needed to stop playing around. Naruto was giving it his all, and his frustration was mounting because Orochimaru seemed totally unfazed by his attacks. He was landing hits, but they were barely inflicting any damage. He charged 2 kunai with wind chakra, increasing his reach. He was forced to duck when the snake erupted from the Sannin sleeve. He flash stepped away, hands lit up in red chakra, causing Orochimaru's eyes to widen. Raitan! Raikiri! Lightning style, lightning strike. The red lightning was barely avoided by the Sannin, who jumped sideways. Naruto immediately flash stepped to Orochimaru, who was midair, and stabbed him in the heart with the wind-infused kunai. His eyes widened when Orochimaru just turned brown and crumbled into mud. His senses told him that the real one was fighting Sasuke. He immediately turned and looked above, cursing mentally when he saw Sasuke being pushed back and taunted by Orochimaru. The Uchiha was blocking every blow, but it was hurting every time a hit was blocked if his contorted face was anything to go by. How weak you are compared to Naruto-kun, Sasuke-kun. He chuckled watching the boy try to land a hit on his person. Though he jumped back just in time to avoid another punch, Naruto landed by Sasuke, who was lightly panting. Sasuke began to back up, remembering Naruto's words, but a hand kept him in place. He looked at Naruto's impassive expression. I can't take him on alone, Sasuke. I need your help. It won't beat or kill him, but it might create a chance for us to run away, he said, carefully watching Sasuke. Sasuke breathed deeply, calming himself down. This was the first time Naruto asked him for help, and it was perfectly justified. Orochimaru was not someone who could be taken out even by a Jonin, much less fresh Genin. If fighting together gave them a chance to retreat, he was willing to do it. Let's do it. Naruto smirked for the first time since the fight with Orochimaru started, and both of the boys turned to Orochimaru, who chuckled seeing the look in their eyes. Fighting together? Even that, he was forced to block Naruto, who flash-stepped in front of him and used the momentum to increase the hit of his kick. Sasuke converged in front of him, and both the boys started fighting him. Sasuke was giving it all he had. Naruto was more than glad to have a partner. He and Sasuke were perfectly managing to fight together, their blows not landing on each other, weaving between each other's attack without even grazing the other. The two managed to put a surprise on Orochimaru on the defense. Naruto was faster than Sasuke, which meant that Orochimaru had to defend himself from 2 fighters of irregular speed. His body had to react fast and slow at different times. Not that difficult for him, but the time it took him to get used to it, he had already taken too many blows. Jumping back, he formed the snake seal. Futan, Daitopa, wind-style great breakthrough. A huge blast of air roared towards the boys, who split up to avoid the blast of air. Sasuke sped through hand seals. Katon, Gokakyo no Jutsu. Fire-style great fireball. A huge fireball made its way to Orochimaru, who simply jumped sideways. He was surprised when suddenly chains of water wrapped around him and smashed him to the ground. He looked up to see Naruto's fist heading towards his face, instantly switching places with a log. He avoided the glowing fist of dense blue chakra that would have likely cracked his jaw. He vanished in a burst of speed and dispelled the shadow clone who was maintaining the water chains. He ran around the boys in a blur, trying to disorient them, but mostly to see if they could follow him. Naruto and Sasuke stood back to back. Naruto was able to follow Orochimaru with his eyes and slower perception, though he doubted his body could move at that speed. Sasuke's Tsutomu's Sharingan was slowly getting used to Orochimaru's speed when Orochimaru dashed towards Sasuke. Sasuke acted on instinct, grabbing Naruto's left arm and spinning him once. Naruto let momentum take over, having no time for surprise at Sasuke's choice of attack, and let himself be thrown forward feet first. His shoes met an arm, which he used to jump back to Sasuke. Naruto said in irritation and jumped up. Orochimaru made to follow him when a cry distracted him. You focus on me, Sasuke! Sasuke shouted as he dashed to Orochimaru, engaging the man. The Sannin was greatly surprised that all traces of fear were gone from Sasuke. He easily blocked all strikes coming from the boy, but noticed it at the last moment. A blonde blur with fist outstretched to meet his stomach. He managed to block it, but was sent skidding to the edge of the branch they were fighting on. He was about to chop the boy unconscious when a puff of smoke revealed it to be a shadow clone. Sasuke knew how to take advantage of the opening, so when he saw the puff of smoke from Naruto's shadow clone, he wasted no time. Dashing forward, he kicked Orochimaru, who was unsurprised when the man blocked it with a cross position. But the momentum at which he created it was enough to force Orochimaru off the branch. The pale man only had... Somebody texted me? No, Blippy Toys. What the hell is that? Okay, whatever. The pale man only had a moment to show his shock before he was grabbed from the waist and sped headfirst into the lower branch. Naruto had jumped up to a higher branch and shot downwards with great speed, catching the missing nin from the waist and smashing him headfirst into a lower branch. He honestly did not know how him and Sasuke were working in tag team so perfectly, reading each other's intentions so clearly, but was glad for it. Sasuke landed next to Naruto, and both watched in disbelief at what Naruto had smashed into the ground was revealed to be a mud clone. They both turned to look the others in the eye, nodding to each other. Neither of them knew how they communicated like this, but both of them knew what had to be done. Naruto's senses kicked in first, showing Orochimaru heading towards them. He forced himself to react slowly and allowed himself as well as Sasuke to be hit. Both flew back from the force of the hit and pretended to be knocked out as Orochimaru walked closer. What teamwork, you two. I've never seen such fine teamwork before in my life. Even my own team, surprising me with every move, is not a feat anyone can perform. But you two managed it perfectly. He praised with a crazy glint in his eyes. Naruto chose to activate the explosive tag he'd stuck on the back of Orochimaru's clothes. Orochimaru flew forward and landed face first, caught unawares. Now, Sasuke, trap him! Yeah! Both of them took out shuriken and held them between the fingers of both their hands, giving Nasani no time to recover. They each split up. Orochimaru slowly got up, the burns on his back slowly healing. He had barely recovered when he was wrapped up in ninja wire. Glancing towards his right, he saw Sasuke lodging the shuriken wrapped in ninja wire onto the tree on his right. On the left, Naruto had done the same. The wrap around him was so tight, Orochimaru mentally winced as his back hit the bark and the wire dug into his skin, drawing blood. Where is all this teamwork coming from? Kabuto said they didn't work together at all. He enforced his skin with chakra when he saw it. Naruto and Sasuke landed on the tree in front of him. Let's go, Naruto! Yeah! Sasuke sped through 4 hand seals while Naruto formed the snake seal. Katon! Futon! Ryuka Daitopa no Jutsu, they both shouted. The large dragon-shaped flames that came out of Sasuke's mouth were enhanced by the wind chakra used by Naruto. Orochimaru watched with wide eyes as the utterly humongous dragon made of fire sped towards him. The flames barreled into him, burning his skin off. Naruto and Sasuke watched with the latter panting heavily and the former critically gazing. As the jutsu hit Orochimaru, held the combination jutsu was so strong that it literally tore apart the area where it impacted. Orochimaru fell downwards, consumed by the flames, and the upper half of the tree falling as well. Sasuke fell to his knees, trying to catch his breath. He had never spent so much chakra at once, ever. Looking up, he saw Naruto intensely staring at the place where the jutsu hit. Did we get him? He asked deep breaths. Right now, he could not care less if Naruto was exhausted or not. Certainly looks like it, Naruto murmured, trying to see with his senses if they indeed got him. Turning to Sasuke, it doesn't matter if we got him or not. We have a chance to run. That was all he could say when something pink, wet, and slimy wrapped around him. He looked down and disgustingly noted that it was a tongue. It pulled him away from Sasuke, who had a similar expression of disgust. He came face to face with Orochimaru, who had not a single scratch on him. Only his clothes were a bit burnt. He had a smirk on his face as he brought up his hand, 5 purple kanji lighting up his fingertips. That's enough out of you, Naruto-kun. It was good for him that Naruto was channeling chakra to try and escape, making his seal visible. Naruto's eyes went wide as he recognized the kanji. He had extensively studied this particular seal. The Gogyo Fuin 5-element seal was a seal that his mother had highlighted in her notes. It was a seal that was mostly used to throw off the chakra control of a Jinchuriki. He had extensively researched it in relation to his own seal, the 8 trigram seal. From the notes that his father made while studying it, he hadn't mastered the 8 trigram sealing style completely, but he knew enough to know what would happen if Orochimaru applied it to him. His seal consisted of 2 4-symbol seals, creating the 8 trigram seal. The 5-element seal was an odd-numbered seal. If it was applied over his even-numbered seal, his contact with Kurama would be cut off. Speaking of whom, Naruto, move, you idiot! You know what would... That was all he could hear from Kurama before Orochimaru hissed. Gogyo Fuin! His arm shot to make contact with Naruto's seal. Pain. It exploded onto Naruto, overwhelming his... Why doesn't he use the flying Raijin, bro? Why doesn't he fly Raijin? Oh, my lord. Pain. It exploded onto Naruto, overwhelming his senses and setting his nerve endings on fire. It was such unmatched agony that his vision blackened moments before he did. Couldn't even scream in pain when he was suddenly unconscious. The last thing he saw before falling asleep was Orochimaru throwing him off. Sakura was in complete awe as she witnessed the tag team between This episode's about to be over. Between Naruto and Sasuke, she had never even imagined that Naruto and Sasuke, who seemed complete opposites of each other, could work together so perfectly. It was only the seriousness of their situation that stopped her from cheering them on. She pumped a fist up in victory when she saw the Sannin getting swallowed by the huge fire jutsu that Naruto and Sasuke cast together. Her feeling of joy turned to downright horror when she saw that Orochimaru survived without a scratch. It was only pure reflexes that she managed to pin Naruto to a tree before he fell to his death. She watched utterly terrified, but she got in front of Sasuke with a kunai held in reverse grip. She wouldn't let anything happen to Sasuke, she thought. Man, he ain't gonna do fucking shit, man. Orochimaru suddenly sprung forward to her disgust and horror with his neck elongated and extended fangs bared. Sasuke pushed her aside, allowing the snake nin to sink his fangs into the boy's neck, causing some sort of seal to appear. His scream, though, it was terrible, and she was sick of hearing it. Sasuke fell to his knees, still screaming, and then he abruptly stopped and slumped forward, unconscious but still in pain. Orochimaru chuckled, looking down at Sasuke with satisfaction in his eyes. Now, show me more of your power, Sasuke. You were good, but you can be far greater than Naruto. He then glanced at the pink-haired girl who flinched at his gaze. He chuckled, Don't worry, Sakura-san. You're not my target. If you quietly hand me your Earth Scroll, I won't kill you. He watched as the pink-haired girl pulled out the Earth Scroll from her pouch and held it out with trembling hands. He took it from her and promptly vanished in a swirl of leaves. Sakura fell to her knees in relief and exhaustion. She shivered at the way he had dressed her. It felt completely wrong. She looked at Naruto hanging from the kunai on the tree and Sasuke on the ground, and for the first time in a long time, she felt utterly hopeless. Bruh. Crazy, man. This was a crazy fight between them. Oh, Lord, that was insane. Wow. Wow, good job, man. That was, the writer is so good at this. That was such a good fight, honestly. And it was really easy to read, too. Let me get a water, because that was a large section to speak on. It's 9 a.m. Man, I'm so lucky for study hall, because I get to record this video in between classes right now. I digress. Let's continue. Naruto slowly opened his eyes, groaning in pain as he got that Orochimaru's one tough bastard. He grimaced. Kurama, you there? The only thing that greeted him was the great demon's silence. Yep, as I suspected, he's been completely cut off. I can't undo this seal because the counter requires chakra control of a Jonin at the least. Not to mention that it will require a foreign chakra other than mine. He made a half-ram seal and tried to create a shadow clone, but it looked worse than death. Pale skin tone, as sturdy as a blade of grass. Not to mention he could barely get up from lying on the ground before getting dispelled. Naruto tried it again, this time with the cross seal. He nodded in relief when a healthy shadow clone appeared. Dispelling it, he tried to sense his chakra signatures, but had much difficulty in molding the chakra in a required way. He sighed and got up, stumbling from the head rush that he got. He steadied himself for a few seconds and nodded. Other than terrible chakra control, he was physically fine, mostly. As he stepped out from the underside of the tree, his eyes widened when he saw what was going on. Sakura was on the ground, looking like she was attacked by all the terrors of the world. Team 10 was behind the bushes, looking terrified. Their bodies were filled with tension as they gazed at the scene before them. He even saw 10-10 and an unknown boy standing on a branch, trying to decide what to do. Seeing their gazes fixed on the unconscious Lee, he deduced that this was Team 9. Sasuke was standing, but he looked so much different from the last time Naruto had seen him. He was covered in black marks, almost like waves in a pattern upon his skin. He was standing behind a member of the Ota team, Zaku, if you remember correctly, with a leg on his back and pulling on his arms. Zaku was screaming, his throat raw, though Naruto couldn't blame him after seeing the way Sasuke was tearing his arms off. Wasting no time, he acted. Sasuke was out of his mind right now, no doubt by the influence by the evil-tainted chakra that was pouring off of him in waves. In a single flash step, he appeared in front of Sasuke. He was grateful that the flash step was simple enough that he only needed to push off after building up chakra in his feet. He delivered a chakra-enhanced open palm thrust right into Sasuke's stomach, knocking the air out of his shocked teammate. Sasuke was thrilled at the power that was coursing through him. It addled his mind, but he couldn't care less. It was like an adrenaline shot to his system, which made him feel more powerful than ever before. He needed to test his power. The feeling of this power, his goal of killing his brother, seemed a lot closer suddenly. He made short work of the Oda team and was about to permanently rip the arms off of the last one. He was enjoying this, the effortlessness with which he was dispatching them. He absolutely wondered if this was how Naruto felt, being stronger than anyone else before you. He was so into the task of ripping off the arms that he was caught off guard when Naruto suddenly appeared in front of him, thrusting a palm in his stomach. All the breath left him instantly as his hold on the Oda nin's arms released. Naruto turned to face Zaku, who was close to losing consciousness. He looked at the nin whose face was covered in bandage. "Take him away before my teammate tries that again," he ordered. The nin gulped at his gaze into the icy blue eyes of the blonde. His stance, his way of speaking, the sheer power and resolve in those eyes. He had no doubt that this guy was somewhere at the top in power rankings of Genin. He doubted even Sasuke could match him with the curse mark. He also knew that he was no match for him. "Naruto, is it?" Making Naruto narrow his eyes and nod, he slowly held out their team's Earth Scrolls. "You're no doubt too strong for us to take on, so I'll make an exchange. Let us leave and we'll give you our Earth Scroll." He dropped the scroll at Naruto's feet. Naruto's thoughts raced as he calmly picked up the Earth Scroll. Had they lost theirs, the Gogyu Fuin had knocked him out for a day. That much he knew. He put the Earth Scroll in his left hip pouch and mentally sighed in relief when he felt the Heaven Scroll exactly where he'd put it. He kept his posture straight, no need to indicate that he was, at the moment, weak as hell. He nodded and watched as the nin picked up his teammate and took to the trees. He was about to sit down to take a breather. He had still not fully recovered when his danger sense exploded. Shikamaru's voice rang out. "Naruto, watch out!" Naruto instinctively responded. His upper body bent down, his left leg lifting high behind to catch Sasuke's right in his chin. The counterattack knocked Sasuke back. Naruto watched in complete surprise. "Sasuke, what the hell are you doing?" His heart dropped seeing the smirk on Sasuke's face. Sasuke spoke, "Testing this power, Uzumaki. I've never felt so powerful before. Feels like I can take on anyone, even Itachi. But first, I'll see how you fare against this power. I'll beat you today." He was sounding more like a power-hungry maniac at the end of that emo bastard Naruto was used to dealing with. He jumped back, yelling out, "Everyone stay back!" Though this was bad for him. He was far from his peak condition, whereas Sasuke was fighting with his power-up. He would have to knock the guy out. That was his only option right now. Sasuke rushed to him with speed. Naruto clearly remembered Sasuke not having the day before. He blocked the punch in his face, was forced to remain on the defense as Sasuke did not let up his assault. He grunted as he felt the force behind Sasuke's strike. "Sasuke, stop it! We're enemies! We're not— or fuck! No! I messed up the line! No! Sasuke, stop it! We're teammates, not enemies!" Sasuke only laughed. "Ha! That doesn't matter to me! You will go down today!" He then ducked as Naruto pulled out a kunai and made rapid slashes at him. Sasuke gritted his teeth when he was forced to dodge every slash with a hair's breadth. He also observed that he was easily reading Naruto's movements. Having gotten used to Orochimaru's speed, Naruto was quite slower. He took advantage of an opening and caught his hand, giving the blonde's wrist a thrust that launched the kunai a few feet above their heads. Naruto wasting no time and jumped up, performing a flawless front flip that allowed the right heel to kick the kunai directly into Sasuke's face. Predictably, Sasuke easily dodged, allowing the kunai to stick into the ground behind him, following with what was an effortless block to Naruto's left leg that was coming down on him. Naruto used the hand to flip off 20 feet back. Sasuke scoffed. "Do you think such weak and pitiful maneuvers can defeat me? Get real!" He then sped through hand slides. "Katon! Ruka no Jutsu!" Fire-style Dragon Flame Jutsu. Naruto watched wide-eyed as a huge flame shaped like a dragon headed toward them. He barely completed the hand seals in time when he was swallowed by the flame. Sasuke smirked as he watched Naruto getting hit by his jutsu head-on. When the flames dispersed, instead of seeing the expected form of his teammate covered in burns, his eyes widened when he saw a kunai lying in the middle of the flames. He had no time to react when he was grabbed in a tight chokehold from behind. Naruto grunted as he struggled to keep the choke on Sasuke. Sasuke's jutsu was powerful, extraordinarily so, but the drawback was equally as big. The huge wall of fire had cut off Sasuke's vision from him, allowing Naruto to substitute with the kunai lodged behind Sasuke. The Konoha team got out from their spots in front of them, looking tense. Shikamaru lived up to his reputation as a genius when he correctly deduced the reason behind Sasuke's momentary madness. That evil-tainted chakra that was clearly not Sasuke's must have caused this, he realized. He was ready for the moment when Naruto would call for help. He had noticed, despite Naruto hiding it well, that Naruto was banged up as well. He was not in peak condition and stood very low chance against an enhanced Sasuke, though he was surprised yet again when his blonde friend managed to put Sasuke in a position where he held the advantage. Naruto had tightened his choke, but Sasuke still put up a vicious struggle. He tentatively called out, "Naruto, do you?" Naruto just grunted a reply. "Don't worry, Shikamaru." He grunted as he leant his head back to avoid a headbutt and a broken nose. "He just needs to calm..." He grunted when Sasuke slammed an elbow in his ribs. Naruto finally let his anger show. "Why, you?" In a show of savageness that surprised all, Naruto, who still had a choke on Sasuke, slammed his captive's head into a tree next to him hard. Sasuke went down like a sack of potatoes, the black marks receding from his skin. Hell, Naruto had smashed Sasuke's head into the bark so hard that even the bark had cracked a bit. "Damn, that I'm a fucking, damn, he does, yeah. He's like, grr, yeah, damn. Naruto panted hard as he stared at the unconscious form of his teammate. This fight had taken a lot more out of him than he expected. The 5-element seal was proven to be troublesome, he thought tiredly. That's a Shikamaru thing. Shikamaru watched as his friend almost tipped forward to faceplant and immediately caught him, gently sitting him on the ground. Are you alright, Naruto? He asked in concern. He had never seen Naruto look even winded, but now all he could see was exhaustion and hurt. There wasn't a single trace of the usual energy that Naruto always kept contained in him. Naruto chuckled. No, I'm really not, Shika. He wanted nothing more than to just sleep, but a part of his mind was telling him that they still needed to reach the tower. Choji walked up to him. Can you keep going, though? Naruto slowly stood up, and the boys tensed when they saw him sway a little before righting himself. Putting a hand in his hip pouch, took out a soldier pill and was about to swallow it when he stopped. He really didn't need any more exhaustion when the effects of the pill ran out. He put it back. Yeah, I'm good. He almost fell down when he was hugged by a sobbing Sakura. He took a moment to realize how terrified she was. He just wrapped his arms around her, slowly stroking her hair, which was cut now that he realized it. Man. Alright, bro. Then come here, alright? She sniffled into his chest. She was so relieved when Sasuke had come to her rescue, but the relief turned to horror when she saw how ruthlessly Sasuke was dealing with the other team. She almost couldn't take it anymore when Naruto appeared. She watched in anticipation as Naruto narrowly scraped a victory against Sasuke and managed to knock him out. Naruto looked to be in worse condition, but she sobbed in relief when he managed to win. He released Sakura, who looked up at him with tearful and fearful eyes. He kept his hand on her shoulders and said in a serious voice, Sakura, we need to reach the tower. We can no longer delay. Shikamaru! The boy straightened up at the call. We're moving. We'll meet you at the tower, he nodded, even though a part of him was concerned for his friend. What about Lee? Sakura asked worriedly. Looking over the unconscious boy, Naruto looked at him with thoughtfulness when a voice cut through his music. We'll be taking him. I suppose he got into another fight he couldn't handle. A boy, Hugo, upon seeing the eyes with the long brown hair pulled back in a low ponytail and a hitayate on his forehead, said, and he was with Tenten, who looked at him in concern. Don't worry, Tenten, I'm good for now. He assured her. The said girl sighed. I can totally see that. I better see you at the tower, Blondie. Neji picked up Lee, slinging him over their shoulder, and with a nod, Tenten, they were gone. That was quite abrupt, Ino mumbled, frowning. Naruto said, that's how they do. Well, we better get going as well. He reminded them with a goodbye. To Team 10, they departed. Is this it? No, that's not it. Damn. They departed in different directions. Naruto made a shadow clone who picked up Sasuke bridal style, and with a signal, they started running. He deliberately kept to the ground because right now, his body was hurting with every step. He doubted he could tree hop in his current condition. The damn snake really messed him up with his chakra control. He lamented. Naruto, what about Sasuke-kun? Sakura's timid voice broke through his thoughts. Naruto glanced back at her and then at Sasuke, who was still knocked out. He would have applied a seal on him to keep him knocked out, but applying seals with just your hands and chakra requires high-level tuning chakra control, which Naruto really didn't have right now. He will wake up, Sakura. He vaguely replied, even he wasn't sure how long it would take for Sasuke to wake up. How hard he had slammed him against the tree. He was also worried on how Sasuke would react once he woke up. Sasuke was already sour on being weaker than him, but now he got beaten by a weaker Naruto, while he was powered up even more than ever. Naruto really didn't want to think about it. He and Sakura kept running in silence, and by the time it was late evening, the tower finally came into view. He turned to Sakura, fishing out his storage scroll, and took out 2 water cans. One small break, then we rest directly at the tower, he said. Taking a sip of the water, Sakura nodded at his words, before looking at Sasuke in concern. The said boy was on the ground. The shadow cone carrying dispelled him for the moment. They finished drinking, and Naruto was about to summon another clone when Sasuke stirred. He stopped, and both of them looked to see Sasuke in anticipation, who sat up groaning. Sasuke slowly opened his eyes, thankful for the dark sky. Groaning, he sat up, his body unusually stiff. He turned his head and saw his 2 teammates looking at him in concern. He tried to remember what happened. He remembered waking up. What the hell happened? I woke up, Sakura was being attacked by the Odo team. After that, I was suddenly powerful. His memory drew a blank after that, but he winced on the mark on his shoulder burned a little. What happened? He asked Naruto in a low groan. He didn't notice how Naruto blinked in confusion, nor the slight relaxation of his shoulders. Naruto couldn't believe it. He wanted to, but it confirmed. It was better to be confirmed. You don't remember? An annoyed face looked at him. I wouldn't have asked if I did, idiot. Sakura opened her mouth to tell Naruto he had knocked him out of his temporary insanity, but a look from Naruto silenced her. She gave him a confused look, silently asking, but Naruto shook his head. Naruto turned to Sasuke. An unlucky circumstance is what happened. The Odo team ambushed us in the branches. A hail of kunai came towards us, forcing us apart. You just happened to land on a branch that had wet moss on it. Your foot slipped. But luckily, since it was a lower branch, you only smacked your head instead of breaking your neck. He smoothly lied. He was really glad for what actually happened. He wondered if it was just his luck that Sasuke suffered short-term memory loss. It was better if Sasuke's defeat was kept secret. He handed a water can to the boy, who nodded gratefully while he was drinking. Naruto took Sakura aside and explained, "Listen, Sakura, Sasuke cannot know that I knocked him out." Sakura asked in confusion, a little bit of fear. "But why?" Naruto looked at her in seriousness. "You saw how he acted when he tapped into that power, right?" As Sakura nodded as he continued. "He's already insecure as it is about being strong enough or not. The truth might send him over the edge again. You really don't want him attacking us, do you?" He was glad that Sakura finally saw the truth in his words. He turned back to Sasuke, who had finished drinking the entire water can. "You ready to move, Sasuke? The tower's only 2 miles out now." Sasuke chucked the water can in a nearby bush. "Let's move. We'll stop at the tower." He was about to take the lead when Sakura stopped him. "Sasuke-kun, Naruto still hasn't recovered from Orochimaru's attack. We have to slowly move, so it's better if Naruto took the lead." Sasuke was surprised at Sakura's suggestion and looked at Naruto. Now that his head was clear, he was surprised how tired and exhausted Naruto looked. What did Orochimaru do to you?" "Messed up my chakra control," was the blunt reply he received. He nodded understanding, though he was still sour about not taking the lead. The team started running again, and Sasuke was surprised that they did not take to the branches. Closely looking at Naruto, he narrowed his eyes when he saw Naruto's slightly winced face. It was hurting the blonde to even run. They finally reached the tower, and Naruto almost fell from the exhaustion when Sasuke caught him. "I didn't know simple chakra suppression seal could do this to you of all people," he said with narrowed eyes. Naruto weakly shrugged. Sasuke then seemed to think for a moment and asked again, "Can't you use Fuin Jutsu to fix this?" Naruto glanced at him tiredly. "The chakra control I require to perform the seal is beyond me right now. I'll need someone else to fix it." Let's go down. With that, they walked into the tower. Naruto's arms supported around Sasuke's shoulder and Sasuke's arms supporting his waist. When they entered, they encountered a riddle. "If you do not possess heaven, gain knowledge and be prepared. If you do not possess earth, run through the fields and see strength. If you open both heaven and earth, dangerous paths will turn safe. This is the secret of something. It shall lead you on your way." Naruto didn't even need to think. "It's telling us to open the scroll." Sasuke and Sakura nodded. Sakura pulled out the earth scroll while Naruto handed the heaven scroll to Sasuke. Both of them slowly opened it, unsure whether it was a trap or not. Naruto instantly recognized the seals in the scroll and examined. "It's a summoning seal! Throw it away!" Both Sasuke and Sakura did as Naruto said, tensing up in preparation of any threat. They weren't prepared for Iruka to pop out of them. At first with a smile and a wave, then horror over his features when he saw how badly they were beaten up, especially Naruto. "Kami, what happened to you three?" Naruto took the lead, stepping forward. "Iruka-sensei, is it possible for me to meet Hokage Gigi sometime tomorrow? I've got some grave news." Iruka shook his head. "The next phase of the exam is in 3 days, Naruto. And in that period, none of the genin are allowed to interact with their senseis, much less the Hokage." Naruto sighed and motioned Iruka closer. And once he whispered in the man's ear, "I'm pretty sure the news of Orochimaru being in the exams and ambushing us is quite important." Iruka's eyes, if possible, widened further in horror. "Orochimaru!" he exclaimed in horror. He then regained his composure and said, "I'll be sure to report this to the Hokage, but you can't meet him right now." Naruto narrowed his eyes. "I've got more to tell." "Then tell me, I'll relay it to the Hokage." Naruto waved a finger. Iruka-sensei. Orochimaru's an S-rank missing nin, so any information relating to him is S-rank. Only the Hokage can know. If he tells it to you, no problem. But I'm only telling the Hokage. He even crossed his arms, showing that he was not changing his opinion. Iruka gritted his teeth. Of all times for Naruto to be stubborn as a mule, it had to be now. But he also knew that he would only be wasting his efforts trying to convince him otherwise. He sighed in resignation. "Alright, I'll tell the Hokage that you got news about Orochimaru." He hastily continued upon seeing the satisfaction on Naruto's face. "But it's up to him if he wants you to visit in the 3-day period. Even the Hokage has to follow the rules, you know." Naruto shrugged. His work was complete. There was no way Gigi wouldn't come to see him. Orochimaru was his former student and a very infamous missing nin. Of course he would want to know why his student was lurking behind Konoha during the Chunin exams. Besides, he was also counting on Gigi to remove the Gogyo Fuin from him. He wanted to be in top form for the next phase. Alright, I'll take you three to your room now. Iruka beckoned them to follow and started walking. Naruto took a step and almost cried out in frustration when he almost faceplanted again, if not for Sasuke catching him in time. His nose would have surely been broken. The three followed in the same way they entered the tower, with Sasuke supporting Naruto. They went up a set of stairs, past a canteen, and into a hallway where he opened the room for them. They entered gratefully. Naruto, get some rest and come out only when you feel rested, okay? He received a tired nod in return. He turned to Naruto's teammates. You two take care as well. He closed the door after that. Sasuke helped Naruto to his bed and seated him. Naruto nodded his thanks, and not bothering to say anything else, he flopped face first on the bed and was out like a light. Alright, man. So that was this part. How long was this? I feel like this was a long chapter. Yeah, it was 40 minutes. Oh, I got class soon. Alright, I gotta end this. Snap. What time is it? Yeah, I got class soon. Alright, so, shoot. Thank you guys for 100 subscribers. Let's hit 200. That's the next goal. I'm feeling so I was so happy when I woke up this morning and saw 100. I can't believe it. I was actually, like, ecstatic. For real, thank you guys. I'm looking forward to reading some more comments and responding to some more comments, having some more conversation with you guys, because I really do enjoy that. That's like my favorite part of all this is like reading the comments. That's my favorite part, 100% is the comments. The comments are super, super cool. I just enjoy them, and they're super, like, I've gotten nothing but nice feedback or like, you know, some cool conversations. So thank you. Again, like, subscribe, and comment down below. I respond to all comments, I heart all comments, and I like all comments. So thank you. Yeah, and also if you feel like it, put on notifications. That'd be sweet. But without further ado, this is your boy the Anime Ambu, and I am out. Deuces.